And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, they've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Richard, you're up first tonight.
Last year, at a party, I shared a jacuzzi with 3 of the eggheads.
David Mitchell's team.
Which 3 eggheads?
Oh, it was Barry. I know, right? Kevin. And Chris.
Do the eggheads, are they only allowed in a jacuzzi for 3 minutes?
What was the party?
Well, it was all of the sort of quiz shows together. We're doing a big photo shoot, and it was us, and by us I mean Pointless. It was Eggheads, The Chase, and like 15 to 1.
How'd you get all them in?
Just out of interest, who initiated the jacuzziing?
There have been some photographs in it earlier in the evening, and then later in the evening, people were jumping in of their own accord.
Right. Okay.
What was the photo shoot for?
Radio Times, TV Times, one of those.
So with the concept for the photo was 3 eggheads and you in a jacuzzi. what were the 15 to 1ers and the chasers doing?
We were doing all sorts of photographs, drinking champagne, jacuzzi. It was supposed to be, you know, decadence and all this kind of stuff.
The concept was decadence in the quizzing community.
I think it was champagne, chocolates, just being decadent. I think. But
chocolates in a jacuzzi.
Not in a jacuzzi.
Sort of a box of black magic bobbing back. I think photographing a lot of people from different quiz shows in a ridiculously kind of opulent setting is the sort of idea that a listings at magazine might have. For example, for the last series of this, they had us sitting round a table pretending to play poker and pulling loads of faces.
Yes.
It's the kind of stunt that they do, rather than just having a normal photograph and then a note of when the programme is on, which is all you need.
I rather enjoyed the poker photo. It's a lovely opportunity to spend time with you and Lee out of this environment, but never mind if you weren't happy.
To be honest with you, Rob, I also had a terrible time.
It's time to make your mind up. What way are you leaning, Alan?
I don't think it's true. I can see the photo shoot, but I just can't see him in a jacuzzi.
Continuing to party at the end of a photo shoot was certainly not something we considered, was it, Lee, at the end of the aforementioned
Literally,
poker.
as he put the cap on the end of the camera like that, we were in the taxi, weren't we?
Yeah.
And I remember as we drove off, winding the window down and hearing, "It's my round, lads."
Yeah.
It's my round! Take your head down, he's looking!
Rob sent me the end of his anecdote in 5 long texts.
So, Jermaine, what do you think?
I'm going to say...
Is this a musical?
You say the lie.
You think it's a lie?
A lie.
So you both think it's a lie?
Yeah.
We'll say lie.
You're going to say it's a lie. OK, so Richard, jacuzzis, photo shoot, truth or lie?
It is lie.
Hey!
When I worked in a shoe shop, my boss was called Mr. Clog. Remarkably, I've had 3 other jobs where my boss's name was directly related to their profession.
What?
The obvious question to ask is, what were those jobs and what were these people's names?
Yeah, it is an obvious question. Is it maybe too obvious a question? Maybe go somewhere else first, just...
I want to know about the first. Just tell us one of the jobs.
At school, I worked in a warehouse and the boss was called Mr. Foreman.
Mr. Foreman? OK. And what was your job? Getting stuff down from the top shelf,
Yes.
obviously.
How would you rate Foreman as a boss? If he was suspicious, would he grill you?
Foreman? Yeah, listen. Very good.
Okay.
Why did you have so many jobs? Did you keep getting sacked?
No further questions.
What were the other 2 jobs?
Yeah, what was the other jobs?
I worked in... Do you remember the predecessor to Iceland, which was B-Jam?
Yeah.
My supervisor was called John Frost.
Frost, Bijan. You can see why B-Jam didn't last, because people will go, why don't they just call it honey? Your final job was?
Well, it was my first ever job in television.
And that was?
It was a researcher on a computer games programme.
OK, and your boss is called?
My boss is called Tony Verrill.
What does Verrill mean? In relation to
what do you mean? It's a surname, but his initials were TV.
Of all these bosses that you remember, Richard, who would you say was your favourite boss? What was it about that boss that made them
Well,
so
John
adorable?
Frost wasn't really my boss, so I liked him. We had a bit more of a relationship. Mr. Foreman, I found that was quite stressful. It was one of my first ever jobs. And Tony Verrill still works in the industry, so I will not be passing comment.
Tony Verrill still works in the industry. I've never come across him.
Yeah, I've not come across Tony
Have you come
Verrill.
across him, David?
Yeah, I think I've worked with Tony. Sure, not 100%, but yeah.
Do you know who Tony Verrill is?
No.
Tony Verrill?
No, never heard of him.
It's weird that none of us three have heard of Tony Verrill, and yet all you three have heard of Tony Verrill.
Catherine
hasn't.
Catherine has or hasn't?
I haven't, but it rings a bell.
Oh, so you...
What do you think, truth or lie?
Truth or a
Well,
lie?
the thing is, I think you're almost certainly sort of geeky enough to keep a record of that sort of thing, and it's the type of thing that would amuse you. And you'd remember at the time. On the other hand, it's also the type of thing that you could quickly construct to be clever. It's a challenging one.
What do you think?
Lie?
Yes, I think so.
We'll have to say lie.
You say lie. OK.
Just because of Tony Verrill.
Richard, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
At school, I invented a game called Snorkel Parker Music Practice Room.
There we are. Please, team, what do you think?
What was the game called again?
It was called Snorkel Parker Music Practice Room.
Right, and can you describe the game to us?
Myself and several friends, we all had Snorkel Parkers.
What is a Snorkel Parker for some of the younger viewers?
It's a large hooded coat with a fur-lined
Oh,
collar.
the one that comes out at the front.
Yeah,
And it's for,
and you can zip it up so that it comes right up, and so that only your eyes are visible.
Can you describe the rules? Imagine we've never met, I've got my Snorkel Parker. What would happen next?
Well, then you and I, Lee, will go to the music practice room when...
I'm not falling for this again.
And you zip up your Snorkel Parker, and then you when someone's practicing their violin with a violin teacher in the music practice room, you duck down below the window, and then you just come up with your Snorkel Parker on.
So just imagine you're a historical reenactment society. You've got your members there.
I suppose
How would you...
I'd have to fully demonstrate it by using my making an ad hoc
Feel free to
Snorkel
ask
Parker.
Richard and David to help you out on this.
Will you help me out with this?
Well, I mean, I you see, this is one of the moments where I don't like having to. All right.
Want to do it?
Yeah, all right. Below our desk. Yeah. All right.
So if you imagine that this was the music practice room and there was someone in there having a lunchtime violin lesson, you would wait until they were in mid-tutorial and
Right, I'm picturing it, yeah.
and then together, after three.
Okay. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. That's it, really.
Was the secret to the game the fact that they never knew who you were? Because you
They
were
wouldn't know you were because it's only your eyes showing. And he'd tell you to go away, so you would all duck down away, and then you'd leave it for a minute.
And then come back
and
up
then you'd
again.
just come back up again, yeah.
What age were you? Please tell me you weren't one of the teachers.
No, maybe 13, 14.
Right the way through to when you left?
Right through till sixth form, yeah.
You never got told to stop this, or you got...
Yeah, well, they would bang on the window and be really furious with us.
For 5 years, they were
duck
banging
down.
on the window. They never once thought to come out and say, lads, it's getting really boring.
But you
And
see...
we know you are, Greg, because you're 8'6".
But just out of interest, by show of hands, who would like to play Snorkel Parker Music Practice Room?
I'm quite keen on the game.
I've already played it. I didn't really enjoy it.
It sounds ridiculous. I mean, the last
It
time
does sound utterly ridiculous, Greg. It's almost as if you're lying.
Do you think he is lying, Lee? What are you going to say on this one?
Well, I actually believe him. I could just see you doing that for kicks and giggles.
Bob, which way are you leaning with this?
Well, it's got the anticipation, it's got the jeopardy, it's got the lot. What a game! Greg,
Something tells me you're going to get a phone call from Waddington's.
If this gets picked up, this is... Just because I've talked about it now, it's mine, right?
It's only yours
Yeah.
if you really played it. If it's a lie, then you haven't copyrighted
Well,
it.
if it is a lie and I've just read it off this thing, whose idea is it?
Well, the person who wrote the lie.
I'd like to maintain the rights to Balaclava Sports Hall. if anyone's interested.
Right, Lee, it's time to take a guess. What are you going to say?
We're going for true.
You're saying it's true. OK. Greg, were you telling the truth? Or were you telling
Well, right, because that would make me utterly pathetic, wouldn't it? Yes, I was telling the truth.
Yes, it's true. Greg did invent a game called Snorkel Parker Music Practice Room. At school, Greg was very popular with the other pupils. Not surprising, really, considering they'd created him in a science lesson.
I have a 40% stake in a prize-winning racing pigeon.
Lee.
If there's one thing I know about, it's buying pigeons. So be careful with your answer. Tell me now, Richard, how much do you pay for 40% of a pigeon?
We paid £600.
You were robbed.
And it's about £70 a month to keep them, which is
£70 a month?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a lot of trill.
We don't feed him trill.
What do you feed him?
IPO, steroids.
Oh, well, fine.
£70 a month? What are you taking him to Alton Towers? What are you doing with him?
Firstly, he's got to be housed, he's got to be fed,
Yes,
he's got to be trained.
In a wooden shack.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Has he
leave
got
him in
a
wooden
bungalow?
shack. This is a prize winner.
What did you say, prize winner? What has he won?
He won the Prix-Calais.
Yeah.
And he's won some local things, but that's the proper deal.
Pre-PRIX.
Correct.
How many pigeons were in the race?
It's about 450. It's less than 500, but more than 100.
Oh,
it's a
come
lot.
on, 500. The sky would be black then with pigeons. I think it's the Germans, they're back.
They released in Calais and they raced all the way to...
Well, they race home.
And where's home?
Essentially, well, his is up in Lancashire.
Right.
What's the pigeon's name?
It's called Cobbold Joe. Cobbold, C-O-B-B-O-L-D.
Cobbled Joe.
Cobbled Joe.
It's because the original, as you know about racing pigeons, right?
Oh, I do know about racing
Toddy
pigeons.
Cobbold.
Yeah.
Toddy Cobbold was the grandfather.
Yeah.
And so we chose that name. That's nice.
So
Is that true? Is there a pigeon called Tolly Cobbold?
Don't know.
You said you knew
You're
about
up with someone from a Hovis advert.
Are there any distinctive markings? So just if there were some pigeons there, say Trafalgar Square, I'd be able to go, oh, that's Cobbled Joe, down in London for the sales.
I'm going to be honest. I would struggle to choose her out of a pigeon parade.
Really?
But
Her, and she's called Joe.
Yeah.
So is it Joe with no E?
Yeah.
That's fine. Show it for Joanna.
I think I might have this. Yeah. I don't think lady pigeons do the racing because they would be pregnant some of the time.
I tell you what, she better not be.
It was only a cuddle, wasn't it, Richard? Do you go and watch the... Do you go and let... When they go off, do you watch it?
I have seen the pigeon race once. Yeah.
How much of the race did you see?
I've seen the pigeon release. You've seen the release.
Have you ever seen a pigeon land?
Yeah, I've seen
You were there when the pigeon
yeah.
landed?
No,
you've never seen a pigeon land?
Right, I've seen a pigeon land, yeah.
Yes?
But not under racing conditions. Is that right? You've just seen a pigeon land in its spare time?
Yeah, exactly.
So you've only ever seen... So what you've said is you've seen your pigeon take off, but you haven't seen your pigeon land.
I have seen
Does
my
that mean
pigeon-
your pigeon's lost?
I don't think when a racing pigeon lands, it's any different than a normal
No,
pigeon.
exactly.
Oh, wrong.
They don't get ticked like
Skids
that.
right to the shed and go, whoa! I was going fast!
No, it doesn't. It raises its wings as it presses the tape. That's what it does.
So, it's time to decide, Lee. What are you going to say?
I think it's
Do you
true.
think it's true?
I think, yeah, OK, not true.
Let's say lie. I get confused if you say not true. It is a lie!
You think it's a lie? Richard, the pigeons, the racing, Cobbled
It
Joe.
is,
Truth
I'm
or
afraid.
lie?
A lie.
I once invented a language so I could speak to my sister in secret. I even gave this language its own name.
What's the name of the language?
It is not a word that you will have heard of, and the word is cushion.
Cushion.
What?
Yeah.
So like cushion, but cushion.
Yeah.
And can you say something in cushion?
Yes.
What?
Could you say something more?
Is that what yes is in cushion?
I didn't claim that the language was sophisticated. I would say you're arbitrarily adding a sort of shk sound.
So do a sentence.
Okay. Ashkamench. Ashk amshk.
It's obviously been a long time since you...
I lost claim in joystick. The experience of what I lost to you.
You sound like the chef on Sesame Street.
If it's so simple, what did I say then?
Yeah. You said I am loving the experience of what I like.
No, I didn't. I said I'm largely enjoying the experience of what I like to you. So it looks like it's not as simple as you live.
So where did the name for this language, cushion, come from?
I honestly can't remember, but it was called cushion. And I can tell you, part of the language, and I'm afraid I can't explain this to you, would be sometimes mid-sentence, sometimes at the end of a sentence, just to loudly proclaim, cushion!
Cushion is talking with random shks, if you can squeeze them in, and occasionally going cushion in the middle or at the end of a sentence.
You know, my parents... my parents didn't... they didn't work out cushion as simplistic as you clearly think it is. They didn't work it out, so...
They didn't work it out. When you said, I want to go to the shops, they went, oh, what on earth is he saying?
Oh, my God! Hang on, David. Cushion!
So, David, he's been quite fulsome, a lot of detail, but is it the truth or is it a lie?
What do you think?
Well, I believed him up until the point where he went, cushion, and then I...
He's enjoying cushion
Yeah,
far too much.
he's enjoying it.
Although he could be enjoying it with the fact that his sister is watching their secret language being outed.
Yeah. She won't dislike it. She'll be ashkalushklis delisted.
I don't.
And that, my friends, so far is the biggest cushion of them all.
It's not inconceivable, but it is unlikely.
What do you think? Truth or lie?
Lie.
Lie, let's do it.
Lie.
You're saying it's a lie? OK. Greg, truth or lie?
Ishk, washk, telishk, the trushk.
Oh! Greg, your turn.
I once caused an injury to one man whilst trying to get a different man to say the word vegetables.
Please, team.
Right, just the word vegetables.
Yeah.
Do you really like the word vegetables?
Not as a general rule, no,
Okay.
but I liked it when this man said it.
Why? What was it about this man, the way he said vegetables, that was funny?
Did he have a speech impediment? Or...
No, he didn't. He was a very intense man, though, and he was also Austrian. I was with a friend once, and he was a colleague of ours, and I overheard him say vegetables, and we both found it incredibly funny.
So, can you just roughly give us an impression of how he used to say vegetables? Even just roughly?
He said it exactly like this.
Yeah.
Vegetables! And then we happened to be on a coach trip with him, and so we spent the whole coach trip trying to get him to say vegetables
right, so
again.
where were you? Where were you going and how did you know
I was
him?
on a school trip. I used to be a teacher, so we were
And
on
he was a teacher?
Yeah, he was a teacher.
What did he teach?
He was the head of languages, and he was...
Head of languages? Yeah. The head of languages used to go, vegetables!
Imagine I'm the man. OK, I'm on the coach, I'm sat, we're driving. Off you go.
So I said,
Yeah? You're very big, aren't you?
This isn't like him at all.
You're very big, aren't you? it.
So I was saying things like, "Oh, I've been trying to keep fit lately, and I know that you're into keep fit. You know, would you recommend for a healthy diet?" And he was going, "Well, you know, I would. You must eat a balanced diet. You must eat greens, and you must enjoy some protein in limited." I was going, "Yeah, but I mean, if you were to group some of those foods together." And he was going, "Well, I mean, yeah, you must have carbohydrates, of course, and you must have..." And it was horrific. It went on for about an hour. And every time I tried to find a new angle for vegetables, his ludicrous Austrian interpretation of things led us down a dark alley. It was literally an hour in the making.
And how did you finally get him to say it?
I honestly can't remember. It came out of nowhere, and he suddenly said it, and he said it with such passion. It was... He went, "Oh, well, of course you must have vegetables!" I started biting my hand to stop myself from laughing. And my friend who was next to me, there's a jagged piece of metal at the front of the coach, and because it was so funny, just to remind you, vegetables, of course! And my friend saw the piece of metal and pushed his knee into it on purpose to stop himself from laughing. And blood started, like, spraying out of his... Started spraying out of his knee, yeah.
Oh, this is getting elaborate, this story.
And I'll tell you another detail. We went and did the trip, which was in Paris, and then after we came all the way back... all the way back to Calais, and I said to him, "You know, we put all the kids' passports in that hotel in Paris last night. Did you remember to..." Because he was in charge of the trip. "Did you remember to bring those?" And he was standing up in front of the children on the coach, and he went, "Oh, Scheiße!" And we had to speak to the port authorities and get permission to take the kids on without passports while he went back on his own. Can I tell you one more detail as well? We were also standing in the middle of Paris under the Eiffel Tower. We'd been there for an hour and the kids were all running around. And he came over and went, we must go, we are late for our next appointment." And I said, "Well, we should just make sure that all the kids are here." And he goes, "Yes, of course we should, yes." And he turned round and went, "Is everybody here?" And all the kids went, "Yeah." And he went, well, then we will move on." Vegetables!
What are you thinking, Lee?
I think it's true.
True from John.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think lie. You are a fantastic actor, Mr. Greg Davies.
Well, so what are you going to say?
OK, what do we think, Alex?
I think you'll find I'm BAFTA nominated.
We're all BAFTA nominated.
False.
OK, we'll go lie.
I'm going to say it's a lie. Greg.
Well,
Truth or lie?
It is the truth.
Oh!